Hi guys, how's it going? And welcome back to our garden, and welcome back to the start of a bit of a sort of garden upgrade. So probably a couple of weeks ago I posted a video where I basically just went around the garden having a look to see what needed changing in the garden. So yeah, it's a really good idea to just kind of reassess the garden, and you can do this throughout the year really. So sort of early spring, have a look what's coming up. Do you like what you see? Have you got enough things there that, yeah, just spark a bit of interest, like, you know, the bulbs that were coming up early spring, the colour, and then obviously into spring, into early summer, autumn, winter, just to see if you are liking the sort of interest that you have in your garden throughout the year. And for me, sort of spring, I know I need to put some more bulbs in, that I'm going to do that sort of when it comes to autumn, sort of October time, I'll probably put them in then. So I know I need to do that sort of for spring interest. And then sort of through sort of early summer, the garden looked really, really good. I was really happy with it. Sort of late summer now, I'm starting to see a couple of gaps, things that I might want to change. And in that video, I just kind of highlighted all the things that I might want to change, take out, move, new things I want to put in. So if you missed that video, just go and have a look at that as well, so you kind of, yeah, get the whole picture of what I'm going for in the garden. So today is the first part of the sort of start of the garden upgrade, and this will probably go well into next year, but I'm just going to kind of chip at it little by little and just sort of upgrade it as I go along. So today is Lupins and Hydrangeas. So we've got some sort of pockets of lupins, 2 pockets of lupins in one of our flower beds that looked absolutely amazing kind of spring, early summertime. I'll just put a picture up so you can see what they look like. They were incredible. But what happens is throughout the summer they start to peter out, and then they basically just look green, and there's no sort of interest there. And I had quite sort of big pockets. So in one spot I had 3, and they grew huge, and then another spot I had 2, and again grew very big. So yeah, and another thing about our lupins is they start to get mildew, which is just part of the course. It just always happens. So you end up having to chop quite a lot of the leaves back, and it does leave a gap. So let me just show you what I'm talking about with the lupins. So just coming up this left border here, so this is where we've got our lupins. So we've got 3 lupins here, 1, 2 and 3. I have chopped them back because they got mildew. I don't know if you can see the remnants. Yeah, you can see them quite well here. So just sort of mildewy, and they just started to look really unsightly, so I have chopped them back. So that's sort of the remnants, but they were huge. They kind of reached up to about here when they were in their full glory, and when they had the blooms on, they looked absolutely amazing. Really, really amazing impact with their blooms. But as I said, after a while they just sort of start to dwindle and then get the mildew. So that's one area. So we've got 3 there, and then coming on down in this other section here, we've got 2, 1 and 2, and again the same's happened to them. I've had to chop them right back, and again it just leaves that gap there, which I don't want in my garden. I want there to be sort of nice flowery things all the way through summer. So the plan is to basically leave just 1 lupin in each spot. So I think I'm going to leave this left one. Yeah, I'm going to leave the left one because that was a nice pink lupin. And then coming on up, we had purple ones here. So we had a purple one, we had a yellow, and then another purple. So what I'm going to do is keep that one. I'm going to bump it back a little bit because it was quite near the front of the border. I'm going to bump that back a little bit, take out these lupins, and I'm going to put something else there. So what I'm planning to do instead of the lupins, or instead of some of the lupins, is to plant some hydrangeas. So the panicle hydrangeas, which like more sun. So that bed that I've just shown you there gets quite a lot of sun. And the hydrangea that I want to plant is going to come out of another border, which doesn't get enough. It doesn't get enough sun there. I'll just show you. So this is the border. It's just the other side of the garden, and as you can see, that's the hydrangea I'm talking about. So this is the little lime, so it does stay quite small, but at this time of year the hydrangeas should be going for it, and it's just not. And it is quite a new hydrangea, so I planted it last year, so it might be something to do with that as well, but I think the main reason is it just doesn't get enough light. So this should be full of blooms and it should look really, really beautiful, and it's not. Yeah, so this one's going to come out, and what I'm going to replace it with is this beauty. So another hydrangea, but this one is a macrophylla hydrangea, and these actually can take a lot more shade than the panicle ones. So I'll just show you another one that we've got on the same flower bed. So we've got another hydrangea here, this sort of limey green white one. Gorgeous, gorgeous. So it comes out sort of limey green and then it ages to sort of white. And these ones do really, really well in a less sunny area. So if these get too much sun, they do tend to scorch the leaves and the blooms. So it's perfect for a macrophylla hydrangea, this flower bed. And perfect for this new one here. So this hydrangea is called Hydrangea macrophylla red. So as you can see, I mean it says red, but it's actually pink, really, really dark pink. So it's going to go really, really well in our colour scheme of pinks, purples, yellows, whites, that sort of colour palette. So yeah, the macrophylla hydrangeas don't really need much pruning. So as you can see, it's flopping a little bit here, and I think that's just because it's quite a new plant and it needs to get out of its pot really. But what you can do is just chop any sort of flopping blooms off, and also any sort of dead blooms, and that's all the pruning it needs, unless you want to kind of size control it or shape it up a little bit. But these hydrangeas do bloom on last year's growth, so now they're going to be producing the blooms for next year. So really, really, if you can, just leave them alone and don't sort of prune them. Just pruning the old spent blooms off is fine. On the other hand, the other hydrangeas, the panicle hydrangeas, they can take a lot more pruning. So come early spring, we'll chop them back by probably about 1/3. And then it will just help to encourage that nice woody growth at the bottom, and then encourage the new growth as well. So they bloom on new wood, so you can prune them back a little heavier than these lovely macrophyllas. So operation, take that one out, put that one in its place, take that one and put it on the other side where it gets a lot more sun. And we'll start by putting it to replace these two lupins there, and then when I come across another little lime, I'll buy that and then I can pop that in there. So that's the order for today. Let's get on with it. So I'm going to start by removing the two lupins here. I'm just going to pop them in a pot just for the time being. I might take them up to the allotment actually, and they can just sit up there. I'll plant them out there. And then we're going to get the hydrangea from over there and plant that on the other side. Let's get going. that's going to look so good there. I'm really, really happy with how it looks. And it just sort of complements the other hydrangea, the macrophylla hydrangea as well. I might move this somewhere. I'm not sure yet where. But yeah, really, really happy with where that is. It gets sun there, a little bit of sun, gets a bit of shade, so it should be pretty happy there. Same as the other hydrangea. Yeah, really, really happy. And then coming over to the other side, that's where we planted the macrophylla hydrangea, and again I think it's going to be much happier there. A lot more sun in this bed, so yeah, it should be absolutely fine. This is a cherry tree, so again I just need to monitor. I mean, that'll sort of hopefully grow quite tall. Yeah, and it doesn't have sort of a dense canopy, so it should be fine, but I'll keep monitoring that. So last thing to do is just to move this lupin back. So this is that lovely purple lupin. It's too far next to the border really, because it gets huge. It gets to about this height, and it's too sort of at the front of the border really. I want to maybe plant some other more smaller things like the verbena and the sweet alyssum. So I'm just going to bump that back a little bit, and then you'll be able to see the lobelia a bit better behind it as well. And I think I might, at the end of the season, bump the dahlia back as well, so you can really see that lobelia, because lobelia is really pretty. Oh, it's looking a bit brown now for some of the blooms, but when it's in full flow, it looks really, really pretty, and we want to be able to see it really. So yeah, I'll leave the dahlia as it is though, because that's just flowering beautifully. I won't move that yet. I'll move that at the end of the season. So I'm just going to move that lupin back a little bit, and then we'll be done. So that's it for this video. So yeah, super happy with everything, where everything ended up. The hydrangea's looking beautiful. The other hydrangea, I'm just going to make sure I keep that watered in. The other lupin as well that I've moved. Just make sure I keep watering. Hopefully they'll make it through the transition. And then there'll be a gorgeous show again next year. All right guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.